Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to take a break from the rear quarter panels and I'm going to tackle these two front guards. I thought I'd just give you a bit of a walking commentary on these guards. I've taken all the paint off previously, as you've seen, and they're pretty good metal-wise, so I don't really have to do a lot of work, which is good to have a bit of a break from the old panel beating. I've just ran over the whole thing with the burnishing wheel, and you can see it's pretty good. There's some pitting along where they've had this rubber strip. So I've just run over that with a wire brush and a wire wheel. But down here is where I need to do some patch repairs, which is the standard place for it to rust. So it's nothing major at all. I'll just get a square patch on that one and weld that in. There is some rear damage as well, which is pretty standard. So that's just going behind there. So I'll remove that as well, fabricate something there and clean that up behind there. I've cleaned up everything inside. There's no need to take the paint off there, I think, because it's all fine. So I'll just, when I get a high-pressured brush, a high-pressured hose, I will clean it up even further. But for now, I've just got rid of all that. And the other guard is a little bit different. This is the very first thing that I actually removed the paint from. So I used an angle grinder. That's why it's quite sort of marky. It's got quite a pattern on it from the swirling of the disc. So it's pretty much done. But yeah, down here, quite a bit of rust actually compared to the other ones. So I'll just do the same kind of patch repair there, and same deal behind it. It's got some rust there as well, so I'll cut that section out. I'm yet to clean the inside of this one up, but I'll sort of just wait until I get the air compressor and I'll sandblast it if I need to. But this other section has got some rust in it, which is different to the other bit along the top here. So I'm going to have to fabricate that as well. But once again, that's just going to be patched and nothing serious. So it's quite close to the edge there, but I should be able to manage it. So yeah, that's all for the guards, and then I can move back to the quarter panel again. So let's get into it. All right, I'm going to tackle this one a little bit differently. So the pitting goes into around about down here and around about there, so I'm going to cut the section out. Instead of marking it out first and cutting it and then trying to fit it, I'm just going to do a little template with cardboard, roughly to where I think it's going to cover it, cut it out of metal, and then mark that out, cut it out, and then weld it in. So yeah, it's a much better way to do it that way. I think that way you're not guessing to try and match a hole with some metal. So it doesn't even have to be that accurate. Just literally just eyeball it. Done a little bit of an angle, so I might try and okay, so that should roughly do it. Now I'll just go and cut the metal out of that and come back and mark it out. Right, so I've welded that first section in and pretty happy with the way it turned out. It's almost blended in quite nicely. I'm getting better with my welds and my techniques. I've decided that the best way to do it is just tack on each corner and then fill in, you know, a gap between the corners with about 2 or 3 centimeters each tack, and then just bead weld or run a bead in between each of those, which I've done, and then grind them off. I've used 2 different grinders. One grinder I use is like a harder wheel. It's more like an actual proper grinding wheel, and that just knocks the tops off the high welds, and because my welds aren't the best. Yeah, and then I finish it off with this, which is 120 grit layered sandpaper, and that gives it a nice smooth finish. You can see it's pretty good. And then you can burnish it with this machine down there afterwards, just to get it nice and smooth before ready for epoxy. This panel's, yeah, pretty much done on the outside, so I'll just do the bracing on the other side now, and she'll be done. All right, so now it's time to do this section here, and this is the bit that came out. You can see it's rusted in, and then it had a little latch there, which was basically connected like that, and then it folded, so it's like that. So I've decided to just cut it in 2, and I'll join that piece together and template it out as one piece, and then I can cut it out, fold it, and then fit it in as one. So here we go. Okay, so I've fitted that brace section in. It's actually not too bad. I'm just going to tack it on the corner here, and that'll allow me to then shape the rest of it here down this bottom here, because it's not totally lined up. But yeah, for a section that's purely just structural, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll go ahead and tack it now and then start shaping. All right, so that is done. I've managed to weld that section on. Yeah, I was having bad welds, and I realised that the gas unit wheel was sitting on the gas line, so I was cutting the gas off. I had to grind my welds back and start again. But anyway, that's on now, so it's not going anywhere. And I've still got the part there where you can bolt on for the screw to go through. Just have to line that up slightly, but so that's pretty much everything done on that guard. There was one patch repair and that back patch repair there, and that's it. The rest of it's pretty good. So once I get all the paint off, I can epoxy that one, but that's probably going to go back in storage until I finish the rest. So come on over. So I tried last week with the sandblast, which you see there, but it's a little bit too big. So I went into Super Cheap Auto and found a gravity-fed sandblaster, which is a little gun, and it's about 600 mils, and I reckon this will do the job just before the door trims and the tight to get places. So essentially all it does is just attaches to your air hose, and you put a little water trap. It'll stop the moisture getting through, because if the moisture gets through into the sand, it'll clog and it won't work. And then get some Teflon tape just to put. You've got to actually buy a separate fitting to connect onto the hose, and then you're good to go. So we'll start putting it together and we'll give it a go. actually works all right with this water trap as well. Keeps the moisture out, the sand's nice and dry. It was taking the paint off really well. The only issue was that it's the air compressor, it's not delivering the air that I need at a fast enough rate, as I spoke about in the last video with that CFM. I reckon that air compressor would be at 5.5 CFM is 6, and as I said, you need 18 to 20 constant CFM to sandblast efficiently. So this unit's good. It uses a lot of grit, and you know, it'd be great for small stuff like hinges and inside doors and things like that. But if large sections like the back of the tray, I'll probably use that other sandblasting. So I've been debating whether to get someone in. I know I've said this on many videos in the past, whether to get someone in to do it or to do it myself. And I'm still deliberating as to put that money towards the air compressor. So now that I know this unit works, just need more air. I've got this for the smaller stuff and that for the bigger stuff. I'm just going to invest in a big air compressor and have a crack myself. I don't want to expose all the metal at once anyway, as I'm repairing it, because it's just going to rust. So I'm going to leave the back of the tray still covered, and then I'll just start, every time I start doing a panel, I'll just take a little bit more off, put the wheels on, roll out, and then just do sandblasting into doors and things like that, and then eventually I'll get it all done. So. Okay, so that's it for this episode. I managed to do one guard and get around to the 2 guards, but because I haven't uploaded something for a couple of weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks, I thought I'll just do this as an episode by itself. I've actually started the rear quarter on the other side and cut a section out of that, but I might save that for the following episode after this one. So all in all, pretty happy with this guard. Yeah, just this section down here. You can see there's a little bit of a mark there, but that will be obviously ironed out with some bog and some high fill. But otherwise, this guard's good to go. And yeah, just did a bit of paint here to stop the wells rusting and things like that. The interior of this guard's pretty good, so I reckon I'll just clean it, give it a bit of a treat with rust converter. I won't bother getting that back to bare metal because it's just impossible to get in there. And I'm not going to bother sandblasting now because I've done too much work anyway. I'll just sandblast the little bits with my own sandblaster. So this one will be put in storage, and I'll bring it out to epoxy when time comes. Anyway, that's it for this episode. It was only a short one, but every little bit counts towards this build. So you know, when I can, I'll get up here and do a little bit more. So hopefully, I'll be up here next week, and I can start doing an episode on that rear guard. All right, catch you later.